a second. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, text 47, 46. Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi, gnanibhyopi matodhikaha, karmibhyascha adhiko yogi, tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. So, Krishna, having explained how a sincere yogi, trying sincerely for self-realization and trying ultimately to come to the point of Krishna consciousness, what happens after he falls down? He gets repeated opportunities, even multiple births as human being to perfect himself, and eventually attains that perfection as it is said in the previous verse. Aneka janma samsiddhaha tato yati param gatim. So therefore Krishna, in the last two concluding verses, in this particular verse, he is hailing this path of yoga. When I say yoga, one should not misunderstand it to be some typical yogic exercises. Prabhupada clarifies in the purport, when it is used, yoga is used in scriptures, we have to understand the meaning of yoga, which is samyoga, which is union, linking. It comes from the root word yuj, means union. Samyoga means union, viyoga means separation, like that. So, any process which is sincerely meant to link our consciousness with God, whether it is through offering our results to God, or through knowledge we are trying to find God, or through dhyana we are trying to find God, or through bhakti we are trying to find God, they're all trying to link with God, or yoga. So any process which is having a predominant process of linking with God, that is yoga. And of course, in the next verse, Krishna concludes that of all these yoga processes, where sincerely people are trying to link with God, become God conscious, Bhakti Yoga is the best. But in this verse, Krishna is trying to focus on saying, adopt a yoga practice. Instead of being a karmi, you become a karma yogi. Instead of just doing your fruitive result, working according to scriptures and getting some, doing your duties properly, you're earning something, but you link with God by your earning. That is called karma yogi. So instead of a karmi, be a karma yogi. Instead of assimilating knowledge and speculating like a jnani, use that knowledge to understand God, to surrender to God, how God has created this universe, how God is the supreme being. So instead of just being a jnani, be a jnana yogi. Similarly, instead of being a tapasvi, doing austerities, be a tapasvi yogi or dhyana yogi. Use that tapasya to understand God. So that's what Krishna says here. Tapasvibhyo adhiko yogi. Better than a tapasvi is a yogi who is trying to link with God using that tapasya. Gnanibhyopi mato adhikaha. Instead of being a gnani, speculating uselessly, adhikaha is a yogi, trying to use that gnana to surrender to God. Karmibhyascha adhiko yogi. Instead of just being a karmi without any connection with God, use your work, use your duties to offer it as service to God. Karmibhyascha adhiko yogi. Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. Arjuna, in all these, therefore, you choose the path of yoga in whatever paths you choose. Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. So that's what Prabhupada clarifies in the purport. Whatever I said, a yogi is better than a mere karmi, and fruitive work without Krishna consciousness is a waste of time. So fruitive work means karma. just doing our regular karma duties nicely. But without Krishna consciousness, it's a waste of time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. One time we went to distribute books and we knocked the door and this person opened, an Indian gentleman. And we were trying to explain the importance of Bhagavad Gita. And he said, no, I know all about Bhagavad Gita. And yeah, Bhagavad Gita says you do your work nicely. That's enough. Work is worship. Actually, Bhagavad Gita does not say that. Bhagavad Gita says through work you worship. It does not say work is worship. So he is probably referring to the verse Karmanyeva adhikaraste. You work nicely. Of course, it says you work nicely, but the next second, third line, fourth lines are very important. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Krishna says you are not entitled to the fruits. So you are supposed to give the fruits to God. So that is called karma yoga. Otherwise, it becomes only a karma. It will bind you because you are enjoying. Yagnardhat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If you don't use your karmic results for yagna, for Krishna consciousness, it becomes karma bandhanaha. So, and Prabhupada writes, empiric knowledge without surrender to the Supreme Lord is also imperfect. Empiric knowledge means the jnanis. They try to speculate without coming to the conclusion of surrendering. That is also imperfect. And asceticism without self knowledge is imperfect. The tapasvis or the dhyana yogis uselessly doing tapasya without realizing God, that is also imperfect. And of course, Prabhupada clarifies that bhakti yoga is the ultimate perfection of all yogas, as will be explained in this verse. The Lord has confirmed herein the superiority of yoga, but he has not mentioned that it is better than bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is full spiritual knowledge, and as such, nothing can excel it. So, if you see in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Attaining the Supreme, it also talks about how these yogis they prepare to leave their bodies by fixing their life airs between their eyebrows. Bhruvor madhye pranam aveshya samyak. Our prana, the life air, has to be gradually raised to between the two eyebrows. And at that time, while chanting Omkara, one who thinks of Krishna, Yomam Smarati, then he can go back to Godhead. Or if he thinks of any other planet, he will go to that planet. So Krishna says, Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nityasaha tasyaham shulabaha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. One who takes to unalloyed devotional service, however, he does not have to attend to any other process like this. And he also says in the last verse of 8th chapter that one who does bhakti, he is not bereft of the results attained by any other path. In other words, one who practices devotional service automatically attains the results of various other yogic processes. That's why Krishna also says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvataha. 18.55. One who can understand me as I am, one can understand me only by devotional service. So Prabhupada is giving the same conclusions in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam as well. Krishna teaches to Uddhava a large section of 11th canto. It's called Uddhava Gita. What we are studying is Arjuna Gita, what Krishna told to Arjuna. In Bhagavatam, there is a big section called Uddhava Gita. There, Krishna gives more details about his preference for bhakti. And he says, Na sadhayati mam yogo, na saṅkhyam dharma uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yadha bhaktir mamorjita. So he says, my dear Uddhava, this the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my devotee brings me under their control. And I cannot thus be controlled by mystic yoga or Sāṅkhya or pious activities, Vedic study or austerity or renunciation. Bhaktyaham ekaya grahya, only by practicing unalloyed devotional service. So, like that, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and the Acharyas, they say Bhakti Yoga is the superior. So, during Prabhupada's time, Prabhupada was driving towards a park. The devotees drove him, and some Matajis who could not walk also came in Prabhupada's car. You know, they parked at the place and then they have to walk for the morning walk. So Prabhupada got out of the car, but there was one Mataji who had difficulty in getting out of the car because she was carrying. She had her baby. And actually, she already gave birth, and the baby was, with her carrying. And so she finally somehow got out of the car with great difficulty. And then Prabhupada asked her a question. See, there are two ways to carry a baby. There is the monkey way and then the cat way. He asked her, do you know this? Do you know these two ways? And she said very innocently, no, Swamiji. And Prabhupada said, which way do you think is better, the monkey way or the cat way? And she couldn't understand or imagine what he meant. So Prabhupada continued to explain, the monkey way of carrying the baby is, the monkey baby climbs on the back of the monkey mother and holds on. And this is the way he travels. Wherever the monkey is jumping, the baby has to hold on very strong. Otherwise, he will fall down. And the cat way is that the kitten, the baby, is carried in the teeth of the mother, holds very securely wherever the cat is going, even though the kitten is not holding on to anything. And then Prabhupada said, the monkey baby is very small and very weak. He's holding on to the mother by his own strength, but the kitten is being supported by the strength of the mother. So the cat way is better. So that is the difference between the other yoga paths and the bhakti path. The yogi is trying to climb on the back of the absolute truth by his own strength, by the strength of the jnana, by the strength of the karma, by the strength of the tapasya. He's trying to control the mind by his own strength. But he is weak, so he'll fall. But a devotee, he cries out for Krishna. When we chant, actually it's a call of cry. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So a devotee cries out for Krishna, Krishna picks him up, and by the power of Krishna, we are being lifted. By the power of Krishna, by the attraction of Krishna, we can control the mind. In another instance, there was one devotee, Subala Prabhu. He approached Prabhupada in Vrindavan when he was in Vrindavan in Radha Damodar temple, and he said, Prabhupada, I am having so much difficulty. I don't have time to read. I cannot chant my rounds properly. I cannot think of Krishna. I'm always thinking of how this contractor is cheating us. At the time they were building the temple. I'm thinking of signing checks for labor and materials. So much of thing is going on. It's just too much. All these things on my mind are stopping me from thinking of Krishna. And then Prabhupada replied, do you think Arjuna was simply thinking of Krishna and not doing anything on the battlefield? Sitting and just thinking of Krishna? Do you think Arjuna was sitting in yogic trance while Krishna worked in the battlefield? No, he was fighting. He was killing for Krishna, not ordinary activity. He was killing. He was thinking of how to kill each soldier, how to shoot with this arrow, how to he had to do all these things for Krishna. So thinking of the checkbook, thinking of the men, workers, thinking of the contractors, this is also like Arjuna's thinking. This is Krishna's service. Behind every activity you do, you should think, oh, this is Krishna's money. Oh, this is Krishna's temple. This is Krishna's work. That is also Krishna consciousness. Don't think you are doing it. So, just like Arjuna was engaged fully in Krishna's service and thereby thinking of Krishna through that service, you should also engage like that. Your life should be full of Krishna's service. And then he said, oh, Prabhupada, other devotees are not cooperating with me. They wouldn't listen to me. And Prabhupada again chastised him. What do you mean no one will listen to you? You think they are defective? No, you are defective. Prabhupada raised his voice. So you should qualify yourself and strive to become more qualified so that you become qualified so others can listen to you. So our life should be full up to the death, striving to improve, striving to do more sadhana. So Prabhupada gave him a small story about this man called Mr. Beecham. So he had invented a medicine called Beecham's powder. I think it avoided some disease. He has done some research and after painstakingly spent a lot of time and money and found out, came up with this powder, medicinal. And but no one would buy his medicine because he's a nobody. People only buy recognized companies. He was not able to convince, but still he was so enthusiastic. He was so anxious. He tried, but he failed. So he set up his shop. He tried to sell. Not even one person bought. And after a long time, one man approached him in his shop and he heard, oh, I heard about this Beecham's powder. Can I buy one Beecham's powder? And then this Mr. Beecham, he became so excited. Oh, finally I made the success. I've become successful. And he became so excited that in that excitement, he died. That heart palpitations. He died. So Prabhupada's point was, he told that story. He said, our whole life, just like Beecham tried the whole life for so long, better we spend our whole life and die just to make one person Krishna conscious. That is our line. To become so absorbed in preaching Krishna, it doesn't matter whether in Vrindavan or anywhere. We must all save all these asuras from destroying the world. That means Prabhupada was saying our line, our sampradaya means active service to Krishna, not simply sitting and meditating. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to chastise anybody who would go to a secluded place and chant and not preach. He called it a kaitava, cheating process. Devotional service means practical work for Krishna. And that is the most effective way to control the senses, to engage them fully in the service of Krishna. And that active service is the topmost yoga. If you see the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they were extensively busy in the hard labor of their daily work. And due to the hard labor in the day, they were engaged in sound sleep at night. They all were doing duties. The gopis were doing household duties, churning butter. They would go to sell milk. It is described in even Radharani, she would go, she would take the milk pots and she would go travel across Yamuna, go to the other side and sell milk and come back. And we know how that Dhanaghat pastimes, Krishna would stop. You have to pay this toll. In the he would act like a boatman. You are not paying me sufficient thing. So he would put all kinds of obstacles like that. Different pastimes. The cowherd men, they were tending the cows and agriculture, and all these kind of things. Even Krishna, the cowherd boys were sent to take care of the cows. So we don't have any reference that they were doing some meditation or studying Vedic literature. They were completely engaged, but their complete engagement was thinking of Krishna. The center of all their activities was Krishna. So all the material activities, so-called material activities, can become spiritual if it is done for the pleasure of Krishna. So this is the path of Bhakti Yoga. Everybody has to take service. And Prabhupada said, if you can construct this nice temple for me in Vrindavan, I shall be very grateful. So he was engaging all his disciples. I know you are not trained for being a construction manager. So like that he was saying. But because you are sincere devotee of Krishna, Krishna will give you all strength and intelligence. Prabhupada also gave the example of why Krishna chose Arjuna, even though he was a family man. He wasn't a scholar. There were many, many big scholars at that time. He wasn't a yogi or Brahmana. He was a Kshatriya. Why he was picked? Because Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. Because he was a dear devotee. And then after his lecture, there were questions. Somebody asked, oh, there are different levels of yoga. So you can take any yoga and then you go up. And Prabhupada said, yes, step by step you can go up. That is your option. But Bhakti Yoga is to take it immediately. Either you can go step by step or you can directly take the elevator and go fast. So try chanting Hare Krishna. And then this person asked, don't you have to first become self realized and self aware and then the bhakti comes? Prabhupada said, no, first devotion and then awareness. Primary rule is to chant. If you chant, automatically that awareness will also come. Just like how you become self aware in the night time, you cannot. When you come to the sun, you become aware of the sun and you can see yourself and become self aware. So when you take to Krishna, then you understand Krishna, then you understand yourself as well. So there was another person, he asked Prabhupada, oh, don't you need to practice Hatha Yoga in order to purify the body? So eventually you can purify the higher self within. And then Prabhupada said, if you cleanse the mind and intelligence, the body is automatically cleansed. If you focus on just bodily exercise to cleanse the mind and intelligence, that is not the right method. It's not the way to cleanse your mind. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's program of the Sankirtana, chanting, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, it happens by Sankirtana, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. The cleansing of the mind happens only by proper chanting of the holy name, only by Krishna consciousness. So, in this way, Prabhupada explained how there are different yogic steps, but ultimately Bhakti Yoga is the highest. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? So, I'm not able to read that comment. Can you, somebody read it out? Okay, let me unmute. I don't know how to unmute.
Mataji says, dear devotee in past life.
Yeah, now I
Yeah,
unmuted.
Prabhuji, Sadar Pranam.
Sorry much. Yeah.
Yeah, you said why Arjuna was picked by Krishna, and you said he's a dear devotee. But I'm asking the question like, is he the dear devotee in the past life?
You see the dear, no, in this life, it doesn't matter previous life who you are.
But
In
in
this
that
life,
life, he didn't exhibit like a pure devotee symptoms, right?
no, who said that? Arjuna has been a devotee from the beginning. He's very close to Krishna as a friend. Devotee means you can be a devotee as a friend also.
Okay,
He was always thinking of Krishna. He was always giving pleasure to Krishna as a friend. Krishna was always in his thoughts. How I can meet Krishna, how I can give this for Krishna, how I can do this for Krishna. So that is a devotee. In our stage, we are, trying to become a servant of Krishna first before we establish our original relation because we have not become perfect. But they are all advanced. They have advanced to the stage where their relation with Krishna is established as a servant or a friend or a parent like that.
okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila